All right, welcome back to the Bomber Breakfast. Yes, so we're still here and times are still hard.
I just listened to your conversation, Tomisi, and you did a fantastic job. You told the middle line. I would have asked those questions as well. I mean, why do we want continuity when it is the same party that is putting us through this hardship? I mean,
which they do not recognize as hardship. That's the one that pains me the most.
Yes, it hurts so much because I mean, if some people could come out and say that these queues are artificial queues, I just wonder in which part of the world they live. Do they live in Nigeria?
I mean, the same Nigeria that I live right now.
No, I'm not sure.
Like, you slept hungry, you could not cook.
I'm not kidding you. I haven't eaten
for 2 days now.
I've not eaten.
Do you want me to share something with you? No, I've not eaten too well.
But your landlady gives you food.
We've not even
Am I going to eat rice?
We've not been seeing of late. I don't know why is this Naira cash scarcity or whatever they call it now. I always feel like I want to eat suya every night. But I just get to Abuki's place.
Robin, please.
I cannot even buy suya.
Robin doesn't have a need. He has a want. He has a want. Robin, yours is not an issue.
Everything will be fine by the special grace of God.
Are you freaking kidding me right now?
Because we have to.
That's what we're asking. So if you have the solution, tell us how it's going to be fine.
Solution to Nigeria problem.
No, you said everything is going to be fine.
I said by the special grace of God. That's the solution. I just added the grace of God.
We overworked this girl.
She was so paid. She said, I got to the bank. They said there is no money.
I mean, how can a bank say there is no money? I don't understand. In my entire life,
that the only intermediary between the people.
I mean, a bank is always associated with money.
Did you see what is trending on social media with the coin?
Yeah.
Somebody went to the bank and to withdraw, and they gave him a lot of coins.
Yes.
I was like,
it's a legal tender.
It's illegal. You're gonna count. Hello, sir. See, you are gonna count. How many that?
But let me tell you, I love the fact that they're giving coins because
as long as it can
I can use it to buy.
It's just I think coins should, you know, all this account balance that we get to tell you, like your account balance is 17,873 naira. I feel like the coins should always cover for those.
Shop right at the point.
Like me going to the bank to withdraw 20,000 and you're giving me coins 20 in Nigeria, something that Nigeria can even use it to still start problem and stone you.
Give me
my stone and coin.
Give me 10 naira notes, give me 20 naira notes, give me 50 naira notes, give me 100 naira notes. By all means, keep your new notes.
Your 200.
Give me the coins. Let me be able to buy food.
Where is the 100 naira? Where is 100 naira note?
I won't reject the coins if I get the coins now.
No. This is why you will know there is actually a
Robin,
problem.
you don't have a need.
You
don't have a need. Honestly,
really
if you have a need, you won't even be talking about coins.
Today too is not getting the money. Why send money? You will send money, they can't withdraw. Because how can you tell me you will take 2,000 commission to 10,000?
Not that I don't have my money in the bank. And I can't get my money from the bank. This is 419.
You see, the interesting part, we're going live on Zoom right now. We have Dr. Oludare Marindoti joining us from the United States again. But just before we do that, Director, we cannot get the second system. It's not coming online yet. We can only hear your audio, whatever it is that is happening in there. We can hear it here, but I'd like you to help us and send the second system so we can get Dr. Oludare live right now.
We had him on last week.
Yeah, we had him on last week,
happened?
And he actually traveled to Las Vegas, and apparently he was stranded, and he'll tell us the story anyway. So he had to go get a car to drive himself, just to be able to move from place to place and all of that. Yes. So between last week and this week, more issues have happened in Nigeria, and of course we're still talking about the new Naira note and the difficulty in procuring it. Now it gets worse because we can't even get to deposit the one that we have in our pockets. And he was reading to us the CBN Act, last week, and saying this was exactly what it's supposed to be like. Let me see if you can join us on the show this morning. Hello, Dare, good morning. Dare, good morning. I don't think we have your audio. You're muted, so you need to unmute. You need to unmute. Dare. All right, see, while we're waiting for the technical issues to be resolved, let's keep talking here.
Are you sure he's not on now?
Dare, are you here? Unmute yourself. Dare, you need to unmute yourself. Okay, so let me face him so I could have a conversation with him. You are mute. You are mute. You are mute. Unmute yourself.
It's so funny.
Unmute. Yes.
Oh God.
Sign language.
Sign language. I mean,
I know, it's just funny.
I mean, communication is not complete until, I mean, even if you effect it, if there's a feedback, then she knows that she actually communicated successfully.
Thank you.
You see?
That's communication.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jare. Don't mind the people who are the two know. They know too much.
The Suya people.
Last week there was a title. Now it's Suya people. Oh God. You can't just say your problem, in peace in this country. They will call you the name of your problem.
Okay, Jerry, good morning. I learned you had some difficulty moving from the airport this morning. What's up? What happened?
It was just, there was like, unfortunately, snow in Vegas, which is so strange. So it was difficult for me to get around. But I was able to get around. So I'm happy. Thank God.
You just broke the rule, They say whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Oh. Nobody knows. I'll be punishing for that.
Oh, really?
Just kidding.
But that was just on a lighter note. We've been talking about this Naira note. And between last week and this week, I tell you, things have gotten worse. A lot of people are not aware, but things have gotten really bad. We can't even deposit our monies in the commercial banks any longer. There is a rumor going out, which the CBN hasn't released a statement, to that effect. But there is a rumor going out that for you to deposit your money, you have to take it all the way to the commercial banks to do that.
To the CBN.
To the CBN.
Bank.
To
Yes.
the CBN.
And that is what is so amazing to me. Because when the CBN started issuing, the new Naira notes, they did not issue it directly from the CBN. They issued it through the commercial banks. So for the CBN to say that, for you have to, go through the central bank, I think it's just preposterous. And I think it's wrong. And, the funniest thing that I have observed is also the fact that the CBN governor has been two-mouthed all along. So, and I can remember, and I'll quote the dates. On the 22nd of November, the governor said the money will be useless in your hands after 31st of January. On the 29th of January, he said the money will be useless in your hands after the 17th of January. But on the 31st of January, when the ad hoc committee on central bank called him to the house, before he was prompted, he said, just on the basis of the law, I just want to make these things clear that anybody can bring the money back into this bank anytime they want. Before he was prompted. And then, I think it was on Monday, he said again that the money will be useless in your hands. And that if after they have pumped out money back into the economy and they feel that there's excess money in circulation, that they are going to do this again, that they know the steps to take. So that is to say what the CBN is trying to tell us is that whenever they wish, they can just make Nigerians go broke. That is not the letter of the law. And that is why we have gone to court. And our case is going to be heard tomorrow morning. I know there's a CBN federal government suit this morning by the state, but our case is against the CBN and it's going to be heard tomorrow morning. And I'm pretty sure we are going to win. And after we win that case, we are going to sue Emefiele himself. All Nigerians will have to join in this suit. 10 million, 20 million of us, because he is protected under the powers given to him by the CBN Act. But the CBN Act never told him to tell Nigerians that we will lose our money. That is not protected. And that is why we are taking this move. And I'm sure we are going to win.
So Nigerians are suing the CBN governor, really. Okay.
You see, I love your enthusiasm. And
How well would whatever judgment that is given
you
be
took it right out of my mouth.
accepted? How well would it be respected?
Obeyed.
How exactly? How well
When
will
the
it be
Supreme Court,
obeyed?
when the
How
Supreme
well?
Court gave an order,
I mean,
and
we
it's been
already have
ignored.
a situation on hand.
And thank you for raising that question, because this is actually plunging, the executive arm is plunging Nigeria into a constitutional crisis. You see, the executive arm is plunging Nigeria into a constitutional crisis because the Supreme Court cannot give an order and then a branch of the executive arm is going to, refuse to obey that order. That is not allowed. That is contempt of court, and that is why we have the legislative arm to check the executive. That is contempt of court. So
that is why
yes,
our young girls don't want to practice in Nigeria anymore.
Yes, because this is not banana republic. We have a constitution. We have a law. The president is not operating under the military rule anymore. This is a
or even the
democracy.
Aso Rock rule. Maybe there's a rule in Aso Rock. There is a constitution that established the office of Mr. President, and that constitution is the one that empowered Mr. President to administer the affairs of this country as commander-in-chief.
Yes.
So we expect Mr. President to obey that law.
Yes. And Thomas, just to make you laugh a little bit, in response to our case by the CBN, they were quoting the Decimal Point Act of 1971. That was the act that changed pounds to Naira. Like when they were converting from shillings to kobo, that was the act that the CBN were quoting in defense to our case about reasonability of time. And then they were saying that, the time they gave Nigerians to exchange the Naira is more than what they will give you if you are being sued or if you have committed a crime or something. I'm like, what crime did Nigerians commit by owning currency? I don't understand it. I don't understand that's why I'm waiting for the Supreme Court's, verdict or opinion today, because you are not allowed, the Supreme Court, you are not allowed to disobey the Supreme Court. So whatever, the CBN governor thinks he's doing, he thinks he's canny, but he's just corny. He's not a very smart man. And I think he thinks he's probably, like they say, like when you climb the tree beyond the branches, beyond the leaves, you are about to start to fall. And that is what is going to happen to the CBN governor. Because this is something beyond his purview. This administration is sunsetting, might even sunset faster depending on what the executive arm does. And the CBN governor has put himself out there going against the constitution, going against the courts. That is contempt of court.
I'm sure somewhere in his mind, he's regretting that he even started this.
Are you sure?
Because how do you start what you can't finish?
Because whatever thing he has been doing,
you should think it through. You should think the entire process through. This is how it's going to work. This is how there's going to be a smooth transition. If there was a smooth transition, there wouldn't be all this opera. You understand what I'm saying? But everything is so difficult. You want to. It's not a thing that you can do suddenly. It's a gradual thing. It's something that must follow the process.
Okay.
So I'm sure he's regretting because he's in a mess. He's in a mess.
Let me also just mention something that was occurred in India that I think we spoke about a little bit, because the CBN referenced it in our case. And that is when India changed their currency in 2016. When they changed their currency, they started in November 8th, ended in November 25. Within that period, everybody that needed currency got it. There was no such thing as you are going to a bank, even the airport, so that if you are flying out of the country, you exchange the money that you have with you. And because they didn't want to be liable for that currency again, they sought a Cessation of Liability Act from their parliament. So they first got an ordinance and then it became an act. The CBN never did that. Cessation of liability is not in our, in the CBN Act. The CBN shall be, liable for that, for the money we have. So telling us that they can make us go broke, that is absolutely, they don't have that power. You have earned whatever salary you have in your pocket now. It is what you have earned. So nobody can erase that value. it was your sweat, it is your personality, your time that gave you that money. Nobody can erase that value. The CBN Act of 2007 did not give the governor of central bank the powers to erase that value.
Sorry,
And that is why we have gone to court.
Sorry to cut you in. I think you should say, in this situation and circumstance that we find ourselves, you should say nobody should be able to erase that value. But nobody can erase that value in this day and age. Exactly what they're doing. That's what they're doing.
And that is why we are going to court. That's why we are going to court. We are not going to take it. We won't take it lying down. We might have a lot of skepticism about our courts, our legal system, but if we don't try it,
even when you go to court
and you get a judgment,
it's going to be upheld.
You don't understand.
That's it.
An example just happened. I don't want to go to Yobe and talk about the issue between Ahmed Lawan and the older man there. What the judgment was.
Technicality.
It just make me doubt Nigerian judiciary.
No, but it's the law. You see, Robin, this is where I draw the line. When it comes to the law and the Constitution, whatever the Supreme Court does, as long as it can be backed by the law, not the sentiment, not the emotions of it. The facts you present before the court is the facts that the court will judge based on. So the Supreme Court was able to say from inception, this particular law was, not supposed to be like this. They could have said, go back, but this case has come through the High Court, to the Court of Appeal, and then to the Supreme Court. They had a law. And they could use that law to support whatever judgment comes up with.
I wonder what is going to happen today.
So it's about the law. So right now we're saying we have the law on Nigerian side, and somebody is saying my pronouncement.
Just the person.
Just one person.
Not even
you
the
sleep
president.
one night and you wake up one morning.
But it seems he has the backing of the president and some other people in Nigeria. I don't know. Because it's been coming up like
even the president is accountable to us, Nigerians.
We voted for him.
Because we voted
and
for him.
And he appointed him.
So that's the point.
So whatever thing he does is the president who have done it.
It's unfortunate that
we have the legislative arm too. That's also why we have the legislative arm of government to check the president, because the president cannot put Nigeria into a constitutional crisis. The Supreme Court has not yet even ruled on this case. They just said, hold on, let us hear this case on this date. And that was too much for the CBN governor to do, because he's trying to claim that the Supreme Court, that the case was not against the central bank himself, even though the Attorney General said they were going to abide by the law, by the ruling. He is trying to use that gray area. Well, our case is against the CBN itself. So let's first hear what the Supreme Court will say today and what our case will say tomorrow, and then we'll see what Emefiele thinks he can do. Nobody elected him. I mean, we can say the executive, it is ruled by consent. We leased, Muhammad Buhari power for the last 8 years. We the people, because the power is with we the people. That is the most important word in every democracy. Let's say we've given that power to Buhari, but we did not give any power to Emefiele. And that's one thing that I also wonder, because the impeachment clause is not just meant for the president. You can impeach members of the federal, or what's it called too, that were confirmed by the Senate. In the United States,
Senate,
there are cases.
Are you aware that the Senate is on recess due to political movement?
Yes, and that's why I don't understand why the Senate president is not calling an emergency session right now. It is not the first time they do it. The country is the economy is going down. There's an economic contraction, collapse that is occurring right now. If you go and meet an Aboki, what Emefiele is calling deflation, if you go and meet an Aboki, because an Aboki does not want the meat on his tray to rot, he will sell a 3,000 naira worth of suya to you for 1,000 naira, just because he does not want to lose everything. So where will he see the money to buy the next meat on his tray? Or cow on his tray? Where will the market woman see the money? We are still an import-dependent economy. So the people that are selling things to us in China, Thailand, or whatever, they don't care what is going on in Nigeria. So the fact that people are so desperate is calling that deflation. I don't understand what school that man went to.
Right, we need to go. I want to say thank you to Dare for joining us. Dare, right after that Supreme Court judgment today, or whatever happens today and tomorrow, we'll have you back.
Thank you very much. I do appreciate your time.
Do have a nice time and enjoy your trip. Guys, we're back here.
Tommy, I was just going to say that.